Back on the SportsMax Zone, many sporting federations across the Caribbean are struggling to host events amid the restrictions and limitations brought on by the COVID-19 pandemic. But in the island of St. Vincent of the Grenadines, they have managed two hugely successful cricket tournaments since May of this year. The Dream 11 Vincy T10 Premier League has been quite a hit, having its initial staging in May and a second edition which ended on Sunday at the Honoursvale ground. The Soufriere Hikers and Salt Pond Breakers again met in the championship match, but this time the Hikers came out on top. The Dominican all-rounder Kavem Hodge was the catalyst for the win thanks to his excellent all-round performance of 40 from 19 deliveries and then 2 for 7 from his 2 overs of left-arm spin. His knock helped the Hikers to 131 for 3, while his early removal of the out-of-favour West Indies batsman Sunil Ambrice was also pivotal as Salt Pond Breakers fell to 63 for 9 in their reply, losing by 68 runs. It was a fifth consecutive win for the Hikers, and their captain Desron Maloney says they got it right when it mattered.
Halfway through the tournament, we were behind the 8 ball. We've been basically struggling for the combination to get it right. But we basically got the combination right and we pull ourselves together and execute our plans.
So, although not coming to the party in the final, Sunil Ambrice ended as the leading run scorer over the 2 weeks of competition. Ambrice scoring 298 runs at an average of 37.25. He scored 3 half centuries and had a highest of 72 not out with a strike rate of 188.61. Dylan Douglas, who represented Champions Hikers, was second with 284 runs, while Darren Graves of Darkview Explorers with 225 rounded out the top 3. Douglas was also brilliant with the ball, ending as a joint leading wicket taker and as such was named player of the tournament. Jeremy Lane was voted the emerging player of the tournament. He also claimed 14 wickets, while his Salt Pond teammate DeLauren Johnson captured 11 wickets. We are now joined by the president of the St. Vincent of the Grenadines Cricket Association and Cricket West Indies Vice President Dr. Kishore Shallow to look back at the success of the tournaments. We did talk, Dr. Shallow, about the success of the tournament back in May, but within months you have put on another tournament, and it seemed to have been a big one, including some overseas participants and a turnaround in the result, because the beaten finalists in May were winners this time. How did this event compare with the one in May?
Much improved. The first one was in great uncertainty, COVID and all that, and this time around we really had a few more weeks to plan and prep for the tournament. We had the opportunity to invite some of our brothers from across the Windward Islands. 6 of them came in to represent the team each, and that really added to the tournament. The players in the first edition were unable to practice. They came into that tournament at the time with no practice at all, no cricket under the belt. This time they had a few weeks to prepare and train. So you could, we saw it in the field, some brilliant catches. Guys had a better understanding of the T10 format. So the cricket on a whole was much improved, and the atmosphere, it was fantastic. If you looked at the game and SportsMax live on Sunday, you would have heard the jumps and the noise and thing in the background. It was really a fantastic event. And the viewership, in the first edition, we estimated over 50 million viewers. This time, we believe it would have reached 75 million and above.
Yeah. Can you talk to us about the rapid turnaround of the tournament? Was there a plan in May that you would have had another tournament in November?
No, not necessarily. In fact, we were, as I said, there was a lot of uncertainty then, and even throughout the year. But since we completed the T10 version, the first edition, we have actually completed our national divisions, which are 4 tournaments in the year. So we completed them at the back end of July or early August. And so we had a window where we could actually stage another tournament. And we decided that once we were able to secure sponsorship, secure partnership, and which we did to Dream 11, then we decided that it was quite feasible. And so we embarked on the tournament, and obviously quite a success.
Dr. Shallow, this second version of the tournament, of course, you all would have gotten better, learned things differently. Anything notably different that you would have done this time around?
Yeah, we obviously in the region generally, and in St. Vincent, I could say that we lack experience in terms of the broadcast, production and so on, even commentary, and the players initially, again, that would have been probably a significant majority the first time they played any T10 cricket in May. So this time they had that experience under the belt. The commentary team, they would have then, probably, we had a couple seminars, one session in particular we had where they sat together and discussed how they're going to go about the approach. The production team was far improved, the scoring and so on, and all the different logistics, everything really came together nicely. And so, the final product, I think, was really, one that we could say is of high standard.
Based on the success of the Vincy Premier League T10 competition, do you think the format of cricket will continue to get even shorter, and how long before T10, starts to take over?
It's exciting. We one of the successes of this tournament is the fact that we saw persons in the stands who have no clue what cricket is, and they really came for the vibes, they came for the fun, the excitement, and we don't mind that at all. We don't mind what they come for, because we don't want to say they come and enjoy themselves, they're going to learn about cricket, they're going to get involved. The parents are going to encourage the children to get involved in cricket, and we saw that on Saturday and the semi-final game, the ultimate eliminator. We had bouncing castles and so on at the ground where we encouraged children, and we called it the Kids Day. So children came out in the numbers and so on, and that is what we want this tournament to do, to inspire young cricketers getting involved in cricket and fans really spreading the engagement in cricket.
I feel like, I can't leave the discussion without mentioning that we're in a pandemic. What did you all do to ensure that nobody was infected?
Well, we had to obviously adhere to protocols. We have a national task force here, and we benefited from the experience in May when there was even greater uncertainty. St. Vincent is one of the fortunate places in the region, and maybe in the world, of course, that we have not locked our borders at any point, and we have spread from the inception. It's all about managing the risk, and we have been quite fortunate, blessed, some would say, that we haven't really, I think currently we have like 6 active cases, maybe probably down to 4 now. And we continue to manage the risk. So we had to ensure our protocol, the testing. We had an automated station that as soon as persons walk in, their temperatures were checked within 1 second. And, we put everything in place, cleaning and so on. The players were in quarantine before going into the tournament, those who came into the country. So we put all necessary measures and, precautions in place to ensure that they were safe as well.
Yeah. Dr. Shallow, you seem to have had a tremendous impact as president of the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Cricket Association. I gather that this is your final term, because term limits are now in place for SVG's cricket. What about succession planning? When you step aside, will the association be in safe hands?
Well, in 2014, when I became the president, one of the first things I embarked on was to change the constitution to put term limits. It's something that I really believe in, and so I've been 100% advocating. In fact, a few stakeholders since then have tried to convince me to revert to original so that I can stay on beyond the term, this tenure. But I've said no. And what term limit does is that it actually allows for transition. So there are a few persons who have already pushed forward to say, well, they are interested in being the next president, and whoever that is, will be obviously speaking to each other and sort of, helping them to settle into the role. And that is what, term limit and transition is about, So I'm 100% supportive, regardless of who takes over the presidency. And I will definitely be on the ground to assist and then support in whatever capacity I'm required to do so.
Yeah. As we wrap though, Dr. Shallow, I would have to suggest that your prime minister is so entrenched in his position that there are no term limits surrounding him. 5 consecutive terms as Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonzalez. Never in the history of CARICOM have we seen a leader being the head position for so many successive terms.
No, he's a fantastic leader,
Oh, he is.
And he was actually at the ground on Sunday.
I saw him, yes.
And we presented him with a President 11 top with the number 5, So he was well happy for that, And he continues to say that once he's strong and healthy, then he will be giving his all to the country.
Dr. Shallow, thank you very much for talking to us. And the next time we talk, we get some Cricket West Indies discussion in, because the boys are in New Zealand hoping to do well. Thanks for talking to us.
Thanks. Take care.
Yeah. Yeah, so Mariah really improved. I must agree with Dr. Shallow 100% that having watched the tournament in May, the Vincy T10, and watched this tournament that ended certainly we carried the final live on SportsMax at midday. There was everything about the broadcast and the production and the quality of performance that suggested that there was a significant improvement on the May tournament.
But Lance, that's how it goes. Of course, it was their first time, trial and error. And he said that. He said, you know, they were new to broadcasting and all these different things. And I think if they continue putting on tournaments as such, they're going to get better and better. For all you know, the Vincy T10 next thing will be like an IPL.
It certainly will. So, Brent, I'm not sure if you caught any of the final on Sunday, but it was very exciting. And the huge favourites lost because the Salt Pond Breakers were well, they lost only one game throughout the whole tournament. The Hikers, who were eventual champions, lost all of 4 games early in the tournament, but came up in the final and did better than the team that was top seeded. Which, as a football man, you would know these things happen.
Guyana Amazon Warriors.
They happen, but I have to give Dr. Shallow a lot of credit and the rest of Vincy Cricket Association. I remember when it first came up, of course, it was during the pandemic. You were always concerned about sports being played during a particular time, and they were able not only to pull it off, but it was extremely entertaining. Of course, good value for money, and a lot of eyes were on stats. And I was listening to his interview, and it's good to see that he identified some of the areas that need improving, and he's willing to push on. As it relates to the final, as you're right, it's all about momentum, and sometimes it's on the day. We've seen so many finals in sports where the team just shows up on that day. With a bit more belief, I was able to do it. But I was really impressed. I saw the final. I thought it was excellent. And I'm actually looking forward to next year's edition.
Yeah. All right. That takes care of our cricket segment, opening the SportsMax Zone, a condensed version of the zone today. When we come back from the break, exciting action from the UEFA Champions League and a lot more, taking us to 6 o'clock local time, 7 o'clock in the Eastern Caribbean.